Hi, welcome back. Well, I am here with our next guest, Cecil Goff from CDG Insurance, and we're talking about something that's very important to all of us, and that's long-term care. Cecil, welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you here. We were just chatting a little bit earlier, and we're talking about how long-term care, the landscape for it has just really changed over the years quite a bit. I mean, we started out one way, kind of thinking about the whole prospect of it, but just it's changed now. Tell us about some of those changes.
Well, it has changed, and one of the things before we get started, I just want to make mention that 75% of the caregivers are women in families, and so just with that in mind, just there's all the demographics of how the changing in the female workspace and all that has changed. It has definitely affected the long-term care
practices. So this is now
practices.
kind of a women's issue as well.
It is a women's issue as well.
Okay.
Well, and the fact of the matter is that 7 out of every 10 persons over the age of 65 will need some sort of long-term care.
Okay.
So we're looking into that. And then the biggest portion of giving long-term care are to parents. 60% of the long-term care recipients are parents. And so as we talk about how the demographics have changed, then it's really important that everyone get on board with trying to plan and just have some sort of game plan for this to happen.
And this is what we should be doing right now, is
This
planning.
is what we should be doing right now.
Yes.
Parents should be able to plan with their children, with their adult children right now. This is the time to do it. So, back in the 80s and early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, there was a personal advisor by the name of Susie Orman. She was also an author and a television
we know Susie Orman.
Right. Well, she, in her experiences, she had a mom that needed long-term care, and she went through spending somewhere around $25,000 a month in taking care of her mom, and that lasted for about 3 years.
Okay.
So she definitely had an idea or a passion for promoting this program.
Because even though she could afford it, who wants to spend that kind of money?
Exactly, exactly. And so since she was a financial advisor, she was advising the middle class and the upper middle class on how to preserve their monies in order to have that great retirement, where they can travel together and do all the things that they've planned on doing all those years. Well, with the advent of people living a lot longer, meaning we started needing more help as we got older. And so instead of having that money for their travel, they're now spending that money on the long-term care of their parents.
For their parents, okay.
Or their parents are feeling bad because now their kids are having to take care of them.
Right, so now we come to having some way to supplement that and get prepared for it.
Well, it's the preparation that's all that matters.
Okay.
It's totally in the preparation. I had an event earlier, well, maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, and one young person, around 30 years old, came up to me and he said, well, in my culture, we take care of our elders.
Right.
And so I asked him, I said, well, where did you grow up? And, were you in that community for a long time? And were you on a farm or anything like that? Well, he grew up in Northern California in a farming community, and so it was a small community in that. And I said, so now where's the rest of your siblings? Where are your family? Well, I have a brother in Chicago, I have one here and there. And so they're all over the place. Who's closest to your mom? Who's going to take care of your mom? Who has the best relationship with your mom?
Right.
So, okay, and he said, well, he did. And I said, well, okay, well, that's great. So then you're the one.
Oh.
And how does your wife feel about it?
That's a big question, which brings me to one of the points we were kind of mentioning. There's 3 major elements that we have to consider when it comes to long-term care. And one of them, I think you were sharing with me, there's the time element, there's the emotional element, and then of course the stress element, which is something that takes place in every family. Exactly.
In the time element, it's all about the daily care. How do I help mom to transition to the bathroom, take her baths, do her showers, all those things. Feed herself. And then in the emotional status is that often we fight with our parents on taking their medication. That becomes just an emotional battle. It's really hard that you take it to bed with you when you go, did mom take her medicine? Do I have to force it down her throat? What's going on with that? So that's the emotional side of it. And then the stress comes in when you actually have to figure out how to pay for all of these things.
Okay.
And as we talked with the young man about, your wife's a professional and, you've got a couple of kids, and I'm just saying that the statistics say that the women in the family are the ones that are going to be the provider for this long-term care. Now, how is that going to happen? Well, right now the statistics are showing that 42% of the folks who need long-term care move back into the family of their children.
Their children.
Okay.
Wow.
And so what does that do? Is your wife not able to take care of your kids the way she did before? Can't she do the homework? Or is she working? As in most
extra
families.
element of stress. And so that's why one of the things, aside from offering the insurance through your company, you are having a free seminar as well, so that people can come and learn about this.
Well, and again, the insurance is only a part of it. The insurance is the financing of it. But we also give them resources on where to go and just how to plan this out.
So if someone were to attend this seminar, what are some of the things that you'll discuss during the seminar?
Well, number one, they have to learn to recognize the fact that they will and accept the fact that someone will need it. And we also will teach them in how to recognize that, you know, a person is going in an area to where they're going to need this long-term care. And unfortunately, the more healthy a senior person is, the more apt they are to use this.
Okay.
Okay. Because if they're not healthy, they're going to be sick in the hospital, and that'll take care of itself. But if they're healthy and then they're just too strong to die,
right,
unfortunately, then they will need some sort of long-term care. We will talk about, you know, what resources are there, you know, what does Medicare or Medi-Cal pay for, okay, so that we can plan a budget and decide on how you're going to do things. You just don't want to be surprised about this thing.
Exactly. Now, when is the seminar?
The seminar is going to be March 25th. It's going to be at my office in Oceanside, downtown Oceanside on Mission Avenue.
And if someone wanted to attend, do they need to register, or how do they sign up?
Well, you know what? I'll present my email address, and you can send me an email.
Oh, okay,
we'll have
great.
some informational flyers going out. It'll be on my website and also on my Facebook page, talking about the seminar and that, so that we can have plenty of opportunity, and we'll post it all over as we can, just so we can do this as a community service. But once again, we're trying to bring the resources and the planning, and the most important thing of all is the planning on how is this going to happen, where, who, and what.
Oh, perfect. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming and sharing. And we are definitely living longer, so you must plan. And this is a great opportunity for you to plan to take care of your loved ones. We're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be right back.